Have you guys ever heard of the Personal Data Protection Act? The Personal Data Protection Act, or better known as Undang-Undang Perlindungan Data Pribadi, or UU PDP, is a regulation designed to protect the privacy and security of individuals' personal data. Its primary objective is to provide robust protection against unauthorized use, unwarranted disclosure, and potential misuse of personal information. It was drafted back in 17 October 2022, but only came into effect in 2024. But how will this shape Indonesia's digital landscape going forward? Is there a way for businesses to protect themselves from getting into trouble with this new law? Well, that's what we'll be discussing today. Welcome, Osnovats, to another episode of Osnova Cyber Talk. Today, we'll be talking about how it's going to be affecting companies and what solutions could be offered to make sure that every company is compliant to these new rules. But first of all, joining me today are these amazing and brilliant gentlemen who will help us answer all the questions. Thank you so much for coming to the studio today. Sir Eric, could you explain to our audience for a little bit what exactly do you do as a channel director?
I think from my role and responsibility in OneTrust is to actually build up our partner ecosystems. We'll give partners like Osnova and Helios in Indonesia to actually build up their competency in terms of OneTrust capability and also drive go-to-market activities in the region as well.
Oh, all right. Cool. Mr. Fauzan, hello. Could you give us a little description of what you do?
Yeah, so I'm the team leader of Technical Network Security in Helios Informatica Nusantara. A little bit brief about Helios, and we are value-added distributor in Indonesia. So we are providing solution, and we are also focusing on the cybersecurity solution in Indonesia.
Which we definitely need right now because that's today's topic, cybersecurity and data privacy, especially regarding to this new law, as I mentioned earlier, the UU PDP. So, why data privacy is important right now? Actually, why is it needed? Mr. Septiawan, could you please help us, help the audience understand that?
Actually, it's a little bit tricky about the PDP law. Maybe from my understanding, something like this. Why the business need the PDP law? Because our business need to make sure everything in check, something like this. We know at Indonesia there is a lot of data leak. Maybe we know about the incident this year or maybe last year. There is a lot of data leak. So governance and also need to comply with the business matters with other country and with other regulation from other countries. Yeah, so we need to ratification about the law. Why the PDP law? Something like this. If you got the data privacy, the business need to collect the data. This is we trust our data to the company to collaborate, to share and everything. They process the data. We need to make sure our data is not leaked, something like that. Now, and the law makes sure the company comply to that one. Maybe from other perspective, I need maybe Mr. Eric, can you add something?
Sure. Let me chime in.
Okay.
So I think from a PDP law perspective, right, I think the first region that came out with this PDP law is in Europe, right, where GDPR came out in 2018. And during that period, the fundamental reason why a privacy law is enacted is because our privacy is our basic human rights, right? And we trust our private information to organizations, right? And it is the organization's responsibility to ensure that the data that we trusted them are being processed, stored, managed in a compliant manner, secure and compliant manner, right? So I think that's the fundamental reason why privacy law is enacted globally, right? And this is a global statement, not just Indonesia only. Of course, I think it's good that in our region here, we are taking focusing on privacy now. I think definitely, seeing the trends that we are seeing in other parts of the world, the next frontier for privacy will be in AI, right?
Oh, yeah.
Whereby how will AI use our data that we have entrusted companies to train the model? I think that's where the Cyber Act in Europe and also the Cyber Act in Korea is addressing, whereby now companies need to secure explicit consent from data subjects like you and me to allow our data to be trained for their AI model, right? I think that's the trend that we foresee will come in our part of the world in the near future.
A little bit scary about the AI thing, yeah. Reasonable privacy.
Yeah, because like all the big data companies, they all have our biometrics already, right? Like our eyes and our face. Like what if they just use it for, whatever means they want? We can't really control that, but that's why the law is really important and why you should pay attention to it, folks. All right, but going back to like the Indonesian landscape for now, since this is a really new law, Mr. Fauzan, you're a solution provider, right? So could you like tell us maybe like industries right now, are the companies scrambling about this? Are they worried, or are they actually like implementing it just fine? This is more of like a background thing for them.
Yeah, so many organizations now are still on the awareness and readiness phase. Yeah, so they are currently doing like assessment of what kind of data that they are collecting from their customers, where do they store the data, how they process it, and how they delete the data. From this time, they are still current on the awareness,
Identify thing lah, yeah.
defining things, doing the assessment.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I guess before they really, really need it, they should probably be prepared, like to make sure that like when they actually do hire like a service to update all their systems, they get the best one, which is where OneTrust comes in. Mr. Eric. OneTrust is known to cover almost everything in government risk compliance. But for most companies that are just starting out, which is, a lot of Indonesian companies that are still in the awareness zone right now, which probably going to transition soon, what's the most simple and realistic way to begin implementing without getting too overwhelmed?
Sure. So my role working with partners, right, in terms of, and in my experience working with partners in engaging customers in cases like this where everybody is like, I don't know where to start, right? So that's when we work with partners like Osnova, where we kind of go into a company and do a gap assessment, right? We assess, our partners will be doing the assessments, and based on the assessments, we will try to identify top 3 or top 5 business inhibitors, right?
Ooh.
So what is stopping you from making more money, driving more, pushing new products to a market, expansion to a new territory, so on and so forth. And when we work with the business users to understand what are the inhibitors, from a technology and compliance perspective, we'll try to help them to clear those inhibitors, right? And together with our partners here, to come up with a change management program, with a platform that can actually automate some of the compliance processes, or even help them with some of their GRC or tech risk related issues to clear the roadblock for them so that they can actually go out and sell or go out and push a new product to a new territory faster. So that would be what we always, where we can provide the maximum value, right? From a compliance perspective, everybody is at this stage on a look and see, right? They're like, okay, there's a law coming up. We know something is coming up, but let's see. But if we were to spin the story around to say, hey, if you talk to a different business, when you talk to marketing will say, I want to market in Europe. GDPR is hindering me from selling into Europe. If that is a problem, perfect. Music to our ears, right? Together with partners like Osnova, we can actually then help to solve this business problem. And technology is the enabler to solve the problem. So that's basically how I will always suggest is to identify the gaps in terms of what is stopping you from making more money. And then we will help you to clear those hindrances.
Okay, so I guess that's why you need partners like Osnova to kind of also bridge the gap between cultural contexts, right?
Yes, because we are a technology platform, we are an enabler. But Osnova is actually a business consultant where they will then identify the gaps, look at the business flow and so on and so forth, and the change management as well, right? You don't just implement a solution and expect it to solve your problem, right? Change management is very, very important.
Oh yeah, for sure. By the way, since we were talking about becoming the bridge between, tech and also like cultural contexts, Mr. Fauzan, Mr. Wawan, if you guys could answer this next question together, maybe just jump in whenever you feel it. Yeah, like are there any specific features or challenges in the Indonesian context when trying to apply the solutions Mr. Eric just proposed?
Yeah, so Indonesia main organization are still lack of data classification maybe, yeah. So maybe they have a lot of data, personal data, maybe like PII, right? But they are lack of tools to automatically like map the data, classify the data, and then make ROPA. Yeah, we call it ROPA in the PDP OCS. Yeah, so they have to map it, make the flow of the data, and then make a report of them. Yeah, that's all ROPA. Yeah, so I think that's the first step that organization needs to do to comply with the PDP. Yeah, but still a lot of organizations are lacking of tools to automate that kind of process.
Thank you, Eric and Fauzan, to elaborate in more detail. But from my perspective, something like this. In our enterprise or our customers, the most important thing is they need to understand what they're doing in their business. That's the most important thing. Because a lot of the company they know, but island, not in the one person or one entity, something like this. For sales doing their own business, something like that. Operation doing their own business, something like that. But they are no one make sure every data come in from the sales, going to the operation and everything. There is no lot of company not monitoring it, one endpoints data, something like that. That's the question. If we're going to the market, something like that, we talk with them. This is belong to sales, I don't know how to process. This is belong to operation, we don't know how to process. So the challenge is there is enterprise need to create some, we call it DPO, something like that, yeah. So DPO make sure every businesses, the data come in from the customer to the company. Then they need to know how the data processes from one department to another department. You need to elaborate that one. The question is, where the position of OneTrust? OneTrust is to make sure everybody comply and schedule and everything to remind you, to comply everything in check, something like that. Because after we doing the flow, something like that, that's just one time. There is repetition that we need to make sure we comply. Because if we lack one part, the data must be leaked, something like that. Yeah. So other than the implementation of the platform, we need to make sure our organization also need to be restructured and comply to PDP law. That's my point of view.
Is it like lack of cohesion then, in a sense? If we're talking about the human body, like the brain needs to somehow connect to the hands and the legs, and OneTrust is kind of like the the blood vessels connecting everything.
Yeah, maybe you're talking about this is autopilot or no, yeah. I think we need someone at the organization to make sure businesses and the data is comply to PDP law. The OneTrust make sure everything in check and schedule and remind you if you forget, because we are human.
Yes.
Maybe Eric, you can add something.
Sure. And also, I think data, unfortunately, in today's day and age, don't go this way, right? Data go this way across organizations. So, and unfortunately, a lot of organizations are still built in a very silo manner.
Oh. Yes,
right?
correct.
So to put it very bluntly, sometimes left hand doesn't know what right hand is doing, especially for large organizations. which is nothing wrong, right? But it's a fact, right? But the point that we're trying to make here is that the data that your customer entrusted you, the data might have, the customer might have entrusted the marketing department with those data. But end of the day, those data is being processed by sales, being processed by IT, being processed by worst case third party, right? So how do we ensure that the trust that my customer have given to my company is protected and respected across the entire chain here? So in the highest of level, that's what OneTrust does, right? We are helping our customers to enable their data, to use their data in a responsible manner. So it's, especially in today's day and age, especially with AI now, that is even more important, right? So it will affect your company's brand reputation.
Definitely.
I think this is a trend that is very advanced in Europe, in US, and this trend will definitely hit us in Asia very soon as well.
Oof, it's coming, definitely. So far, I think I've gotten an idea of where we're starting right now, since we're only in the beginning of like being aware. How long is it going to take to actually get to where we are to like be super compliant in a sense? Is there like a roadmap or phases to it? Could you please explain it, guys?
Sure, let me take a step at it, right? So GDPR was enacted in 2018.
Yes.
And now it's 2025. My math is not very 7 years. It is a journey, right? It's not like a law enacted, you flick a switch, boom, everybody. It's a mindset change, right? That's number one. Number two is also, it also depends on, from a company perspective, do I only do business in Indonesia only, or do I do business globally, right? So for companies that is Indonesia-based company that is trying to go global, right? Where Europe is a market, US is a market, right? They have to be compliant immediately. Else their business in those parts of the world are at risk from a compliance perspective. And the fines are pretty heavy as well, right? So when we talk about, so we always look at things like how from a business enablement perspective, we always look at the problem, how does it impact your business, right? And when you look down on it, compliance is definitely somewhere in there, right? But so we were always going with what is the value that our platform can deliver, and what are the business challenge that we're able to deliver, right? So to address. So I think that's where we would want to actually address everything. So to your point, from a timeline perspective, it depends on how serious that problem that I just mentioned to you.
Oh, okay.
If that problem is very serious, it will be immediate. If the problem is not that serious, then it will take a while. You will have to take for the rest of the world or the rest of this region to catch up for this to happen. So there's no timeline per se. It depends on how urgent is that problem that we see here. And different companies, because of their size, because of the region that they operate in, depending on the industries, the timeline can differ.
So yeah, I was gonna ask about like, what about specific industries? But I guess you already answered, like, it depends on where they're going to be operating out of, right? Mr. Fauzan, is there like a specific industry that like really needs this done ASAP?
Yeah, I think for highly regulated industry, the FSI, healthcare,
Okay, yeah.
and also telecommunication. I think that, and also the government also,
At the government,
Public service,
public service, yeah.
because they are the highly regulated industries.
For my point of view here is, it's not industry. Remember one thing, privacy is human. So depending on which industry that has the largest amount of human data, that is the most important industry. So typically a B2C kind of an industry, right? So B2C can be telco, airlines, government as well. There are a lot of government employees, citizens, everybody's information is here. So it's how much citizen or how much customers information you have. It's not an industry issue. It's about how much information you are collecting and processing. So that will be why I say which are the industry that's most urgent.
I have a question, something like this. Maybe I can something like this. We're talking about from business perspective, correct? Yeah. How about the customer perspective about the PDP thing? Is this really help them to secure their data, or what? What the impact for the customer? So they will choose the business that comply with the PDP law, so this will enforce the business to comply, something like that. I need to know, maybe you can share something like what the perspective from the customer about the PDP law. Why this is need for us?
So from an end user perspective, right? Of course, I would prefer to work with a customer that is trustworthy, a company that I can trust my data with, right? If it's a company that has a lot of bad press because of leakages and something, I wouldn't be confident giving them my data, right? So I think, and this is a generation mindset, right? It's not like today, everything will change, right? It will take a generation or two, and as we get more internationalized, where we start looking at how Europeans value their privacy, we look at how the Americans value their privacy. I think over time in Asia, we ourselves will say, hey, privacy is my right, privacy is my data. And like I keep saying, with AI getting more and more pervasive, it will really speed up this whole mindset change, because I don't want the AI to know certain things about me. But unfortunately, those things that I don't want AI to know is already with some company. So I don't want those companies to share my data with AI.
I'm profiling me, something like that.
Yes. So I think that's where, with AI coming up, it will really speed up this mindset change across the world.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it's about the mindset, right? Yeah. Because we are Indonesian. I think for the last 3 years, 4 years, many organizations, it's like cyber attack, right? Many data are leaked there. I think that will trigger Indonesian people to have the kind of mindset that Eric share with us.
Nice. Insightful, I think.
That's why, listeners, you gotta listen more to like these podcasts so you can get woke. You know where your data is going. You can hold those companies accountable. Well, for I guess the last question there, since we're trying to build a new system/mindset, what are some common mistakes people make that we should be avoiding?
Yeah, so from my point of view, I think it's always going to be because you don't know what you don't know, right? Everybody will try to do everything at once, right? And to be frank, privacy law is not like a one-liner.
No,
it is many, many pages, right? So it's important for you to work with partners whereby they are the subject matter expert, that where they will do an assessment, right, based on the law and based on your business model. What are the 3 or 4 most important things, right, that you should start with, right? What we typically call as an MVP, minimum viable product, right? So the minimum viable product fundamentally is to do 2 things: baseline compliance, not full compliance, definitely baseline compliant, and at the same time, how you can actually then help to build the trust with your data subjects, right? I think it's a trend. I hope this will happen. Personally, I think for company to respect their data subjects' privacy, their company brand should command a premium, right? Whereby now, you are a trusted company. I trust you with my data. I'm willing to work with you. So, and the positive impact of this trust is incremental in revenue, right? So if and with this trend happening, and if this were to happen, the ROI, the value that a technology platform like us can deliver will be tremendous, right? We assuming a $100 billion company able to improve their top line by 2%. I'm talking about $2 billion a year.
Yeah.
By this increase in branding, right? The trusted brand, right? So I think that's something that is a journey. It's not going to happen today, tomorrow, right? But I think with the mindset change, with the regulatory enforcements coming, right? Regulatory requirement coming up, I think this is a future that will be happening. And with AI, again, I keep saying AI, but AI will really speed things up, all these adoptions.
100%, yes.
Yeah, I think from my perspective here, I think also the most common mistakes are treating compliance is just like a one-time project. I think compliance is more should be continuous, continuous improvement, evolving, continuous process, not just as a box checking process, and I think for that kind of
process, we need to use tools. Pak Wan mentioned that company needs to point DPO, to sort things out. Also, I think that the DPO should get help by using tools, right? I think big organization have a lot of data, and there's a lot of data cannot rely on the manual process. I think that's most common mistakes that organization have now.
This is kind of off the cuff of the thing, but like I was kind of wondering like how would end users know if a company is like already super compliant in a sense? Like I'm assuming they would have like a badge.
Something like halal.
In other parts of the world, I'm from Singapore, so Singapore perspective, there's this thing called trust mark. So there's a chop trust mark, right?
It's something like a halal.
So halal. So I think this is maybe there's something that the government should be looking at as well, right? It's whereby a company can be certified by the level of competencies. In other countries, I know where the government are looking at how do they certify SOE in terms of their compliance, because SOE have a lot of citizen information, or even private commercial companies where they have a lot of personal information. Airlines, telcos, right? They basically have everybody's information. So how do they quote unquote certify them in terms of their privacy or their security assessment, right? So I think that's something that is very country specific.
Oh yeah.
Right. Will this happen in Indonesia? I don't know. Right. But I'm sure with, the government G2G talk, right, and then they go around the world looking at some of the best practices, might be something that is possible.
That's for future episodes to discuss, guys. So look out for it. Anyways, I think that's all of my questions for today. Pak Wawan, do you have any other questions for our guests?
Maybe not question, but maybe this something like sharing information, something like that. We are working closely with the OneTrust and Helios, also with ComDigi. We create the event maybe in the next month, 11/11, yeah, correct? We're talking about the mistake. We're talking about point of view from our customer, also from the business take. But the business thinking about where we need to begin, something like that. Well, that one we work closely, Osnova, with OneTrust and Helios to make something like simple package that you can afford. Yeah. Then you need something like starter pack, something like that. So this one, our collaboration with OneTrust, Helios, and also with ComDigi, because this is the most important thing. So you need the starter pack, this one first, and then you can expand, become a journey of your PDP compliance, something like that. That from my Osnova perspective. Maybe you want to add something?
Yeah, so I think MVP is very important, right? So we want to boil the ocean and do everything at once, which is a recipe for failure. So again, with Osnova, consultancy services, right? They will be able to kind of address some of the top three, most pressing issues that is pervasive to the PDP law, right? And kind of work on a package to address that, right? I think that's something that, that's why we want to work with partners like Osnova to be able to deliver the as many of these solutions to the customer as possible, right? And minimum compliance is one thing. Once you start on the compliance journey, then yes, slowly add on and so on and so forth. So that's what, we definitely want to work together with.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. All right. And before we definitely close all of this, you guys get 20 seconds to shout out like what your company is doing and maybe something exciting that the audience should know about you guys.
OneTrust, you heard a lot about me talking about OneTrust, right? I think from a highest level perspective, OneTrust is actually a platform that helps our customers to monetize their data, right? Help our customers to use their data responsibly for AI. So that's basically what OneTrust at the highest level does.
At Helios Informatika Nusantara, we are continuously helping organizations to adopt with UU PDP law and also collaborate with Osnova and OneTrust to make sure that compliance is not just one-time process, but also a sustainable process, continuous process.
Thank you so much for coming, both of you, Mr. Eric, Mr. Fauzan, and of course, Awawan. Thank you so much. I think I got to learn a little bit more about privacy data and the inner workings of it. So interesting. All right, and thank you so much, listeners, for sticking with us today, and good luck with the upcoming event, by the way, or I guess the past event. All right, listeners, again, thank you for sticking around. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and of course this YouTube channel. We also have a website where we post most of our blogs and insights. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video. And thank you so much. See you next time.
Thank you.